I'm Lee Park. I'm in the chemistry department here at Williams College, and I will be talking a little bit about teaching labs. Labs are a component of almost all of our courses. They go along with our lectures. At Williams, unlike some other places, labs are not separate courses. They are an integral part of a given course. So starting out teaching labs, I think that that's very familiar to most people who will be starting as faculty members because working in lab is what you've been doing in graduate school and in your postdoc. Teaching labs, I think, that's really our chance to show students that chemistry and other sciences are really experimental, hands-on, preparative sciences. That doing chemistry is really about actually making things and stirring things and making new molecules, and it really is experimental. There are various goals in teaching a lab, and partly that has to do with getting students accustomed to that kind of physical manipulation, and there will be students who are less comfortable with that and less good at that. There are others who will be, in fact, fairly experienced, and so trying to make everyone comfortable in that environment is sort of can be a challenge. You're also trying to show students something about what it means to do and to design an experiment, what it means to collect data, what it means for something to be reproducible, and to give them some sense of the variability that occurs in any experiment. That also can be a challenge because often you actually don't want to give a student 10 tries to do one experiment because you actually want to move on to other things, and so sometimes it's hard for them to understand that there is variability that is part of any experiment. Starting out teaching labs, probably the most important thing is to actually test your experiments and make sure they work, and to recognize that even seemingly very, very small changes in your apparatus or your concentrations of solutions or your equipment sometimes result in disastrous consequences. And so you should really test everything with everything in place before your students show up. And students will find many ways to alter things that you had not expected, and even with a room full of students all trying to do the same experiment, you will find an astonishing variation in what can occur. So definitely testing them so at least you know what it's supposed to look like is really helpful. When you get into upper level courses, it's a great opportunity to really introduce students more to the research aspect of doing experimentation, and in a lot of our upper level courses we do multi-week experiments that are often more open-ended and give students a flavor of what it really means to have a more open-ended question. And I think our students generally respond well to that. They don't tend to enjoy as much the early experiments where, for instance, the answers are sort of known and it's more technique-based. So they like the chance to sort of see what it means to get into a research environment or a research-like environment. But that's tricky too because you don't have unlimited time, you don't have unlimited resources, and so you still have to find ways to shape that and constrain their experience so that they can actually get some sort of a result in some reasonable amount of time. You will have students that are less interested in lab. You will have students that are less good at lab or less comfortable with equipment than others. And so it's a chance for you to work hands-on with them and try to encourage all of them. You will also have students that really shine in lab compared to lecture. There are students who are maybe less good in the coursework part of the course and really actually enjoy the hands-on part of the course. And so it's really a chance to bring out different skills for different students. And it's also where you get to know students really well because in fact, our labs run for 4 hours once a week for a given course. So our students are there from 1 to 5 o'clock. And we work side by side with them, and it's a chance for us to really get to know them in a very different kind of environment, and to get to work with them sort of side by side, and so it's really a great opportunity for us to get to know them and to help encourage them and try to assess things that they're good at and maybe things that they need work on. So lab is an integral part of teaching chemistry, and it's a huge part of what we do. Setup and design of laboratory experiments can take an enormous amount of time. There's a lot of instrument upkeep, there's a lot of reagent prep. A lot of those things take are surprisingly time intensive. And so you don't want to leave that for the last minute because you will be surprised. But it's a big part of what we do, and it's a fun part of what we do.